Hey guys, this is my first attempt trying to demonstrate how to prune fruit trees. This is a bramley tree of my mum's that I've been pruning for, donkey's years, 20 years, something like that. So it's quite a good shape, it's quite big. This is bramley twig, and bramley buds are quite big and fat. These are where the fruit buds are. And I don't know whether you can see this is a growth ring here. So this, from that growth ring to the end, that is 1 year's growth. As you can see, it's quite big, and you tend to get your fruit in wood off second year wood, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, something like that. Basically on a fruit tree, if your twigs are drooping like that, or flat, or going slightly up, so about 45 degrees, something like that, then you'll still get fruit on that wood. Everything else, all the spiky stuff like this, can come off, because that tends to just grow. I don't know whether you can see the top of the tree or not. There's quite a few on the top. Generally, this is more of a standard sort of shape. You've got a trunk that goes right up to the top. It does lean, which is not ideal, but it's not disastrous. And then generally speaking, your main branches should be down the bottom in an X. So you have got access points where you can get in to both prune and pick the fruit. So you can see here there's a great big wide gap between this branch and this side branch, and over here as well you've got a fairly big gap where you can get in there to pick your fruit or prune. So yeah, you can see in the top lots of stuff drooping down. So your main branches are down the bottom there, they're thick branches that always stay on. Up the top you have thinner branches, and so they don't shade the branches down the bottom, and you will keep pruning those when they start to get too big. Some of these ones at the top here are probably about 1, 2, 3, 4 years old perhaps. I can tell that because I've just basically counted the growth rings. You can see where, I don't know whether you can see this or not. Here, look, that's 1 year growth from there to there. Another year's growth, that's 2 years to there. And then 3, probably somewhere up there, maybe 4 years old. So what I'm going to do is try and maintain the overall shape. So I'll be taking quite a few of the upright branches off, and leaving all the small stuff, because this is where most of your fruit is, and also where it's not causing you too much hassle, not too much growth. So something like this, look, it's starting to get a bit wide now, so I'm going to whop that off there to a growth ring. You can see the fruit buds that I've left, big fruit buds, and that's not getting too far out from the tree. There's an upright one there, cut it right back. The rest of this isn't really too bad. Maybe this is getting too far across here, which is kind of interfering with my gap, so I'm going to take that off. I don't actually know how much of this you can see. There's one in here, look, which is a bit of a vertical branch, so I'm going to take that off. When you prune stuff, try not to leave any stumps, cut it right back to the main branch. And then here, just basically nipping stuff back a bit. This one here is growing back into the tree, so I'll wash that one off. And then with the bramley, or any apple tree pretty much, the more complicated the branch, the smaller the fruit's going to be. So with most fruit trees it's kind of all or nothing. So if the branch is getting too old, you'll take the whole branch off and let something else grow. With the bramley you can kind of make the branches a bit less complicated. So these are getting quite long now, so I'm just going to nip these back a bit. Did that one to a growth ring, that one I did to a fruit bud. I'm just going to nip them back a bit, just make it a bit less complicated. You can still get in these gaps. If you can't, just take something off so you can actually get yourself in. That was an upright one. Anything that's hanging down too much. This one here, it's got a couple of fruit buds on it there, 3, maybe 4. But all the way back to here, there's no fruit bud, it's just a twig. So you might as well take it off, because it's not really going to produce you much fruit. This one's actually coming off the other tree at the back. Just lifting things up a little bit. Some of these are getting a bit long here. Just gonna make that a bit less complicated. Just lift it up a little bit. Oh. One there I've missed in the middle. This one here is also grown up and also back into the tree. So really you need to have your branches growing out from the tree instead of growing back in to the tree. I'm not really concerned about crossing branches too much on fruit trees, unless they're big branches, but something like this on top of this, it doesn't really matter too much, because one day you're going to take it off anyway. It's just the nature of pruning fruit trees. Again here, let's just to a growth ring, maybe take, it's not too concerned about that one, maybe just prune it to a growth ring. Again, I don't know whether you can see this, hopefully you can. So there's a few upright branches just here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to take all those off. Again, this one is probably getting a bit old now, and there's not much useful stuff on it, so I'm going to take that off. Again, just taking the upright stuff off and leaving the stuff on that's hanging down. Not too concerned about some of this stuff, because it's all coming down. It is on top of this main branch here, but it's not really causing any harm. So I'm actually quite happy with what I've done there. It's not too bare. Plenty of small stuff. All this stuff is where fruiting wood will be, and the same on this branch on this side. I'm just going to grab my phone a minute. Right, so this is what I've left. I haven't done the top of the tree yet, and I haven't done this side of the tree as well. Right, so this one coming out here, some of these are getting a bit too far out from the tree. It is quite a long branch anyway. When you look at the trunk, it's not a massive trunk to support this great big long branch, but there's not much else in this middle bit here to prune it back to. So really kind of got to stick with it a little bit. I can maybe take some of this long one off here. So what I'm going to do, this one here, I'm going to whop that one off there completely. So that's brought that in a bit. This one, this long one here, look, that is probably 3-4 years old. It's probably getting to the end of its usefulness. You could whop it off there, I suppose. You could take it off there, but I'm actually just going to take the whole thing off in here. Excuse this camera shake. There you go, that has improved it already. Right, I can still maintain my gap, so I'm just gonna maybe take that off there, leave all these buds here. That's not too bad. Get around this side of the tree. Look at all these lovely fruit buds on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and these would also fruit probably, but it's getting a bit too far out, so I'm just going to prune it to a fruit bud. What tends to happen if you prune it to a fruit bud like that, it tends to stop the growth, so nothing will grow from there. Whereas if you prune it to a growth ring, see that growth ring there? That's 1 year growth to the end. This is another growth ring, that's 2 years growth. So if you were to prune it to a growth ring, just this side of the growth ring, something else next year, or this year even, will grow from there. I was just demonstrating that because I don't actually really like that one. You could, I suppose, just with a bramley, it's not quite so critical if things stick up like that. Again, down here things are getting a bit low to the ground. Once you've got the weight of fruit on there, these are going to start hanging down a bit. So I'm just going to prune these up a bit so they don't go on the ground so much. Right, coming around here, again we're getting a bit far out from the main trunk, so I'm just going to bring it in a bit. That one I'm going to take off there, that one. And yeah, things really are getting a bit far out, so they could actually come in a bit. What should I do with this? Take it off there, maybe. I'm just going to whop these ends back a bit. Doesn't matter if you change your mind. I did prune that onto there, but I'm actually going to bring it in a bit more and take it off here because it is getting a bit far out. This one is quite nice. Just prune it back a little bit. And again, up here, growth ring. If you imagine all these branches above with leaves on, they will start to shade this main branch that's underneath it. So I'm a bit reluctant to cut them off because they can get quite a bit of fruit on them, but they are maybe getting a bit long now. I might well take them off next year, so I'm just going to prune them back a bit, maybe take a bit of the length off. So this top one, I'm going to take it in just there. Look, that's this branch. I'll shake it. I'm just going to take it in there just so it doesn't shade underneath quite so much. And when you prune to a joint, don't leave a great big stump. Do a nice clean cut. Again, just round here, I'm just going to bring it in a bit, take it to a couple of fruit buds or growth rings. It's not too critical. Top of the tree really needs a bit of sorting out. I can't really do it with one hand, so I'm just going to try and, excuse me a minute, I haven't really organised myself properly. I've got myself a tripod yet, or an assistant. Let's see if I can just, I've got a twig in the way, haven't I? Let's just whop that off there. There you go. Right, I'm going to sort the top of the tree out. So I've got my pole saw, so I don't have to climb. I'm a tree surgeon, by the way, as well, so I've got plenty of decent kit. So this one up here, just getting it's a bit upright, so I'm going to take it off, get in there. Things have a tendency to land on your head. I'll take some of these off the top as well. Take a few of these out. Fruit buds on this one here. This one here is not too bad. What you can do, if you think it's sticking up too much, you can actually just bend them down, and if you stick it under another branch, you can literally just leave it like that, and it'll slow the growth down, but you'll still get your fruit. Taking this one off here. Not too bothered about the top of it now. Let me just take that one off, and that one, and that one. One in there. think actually it's not looking too bad. Almost finished. There's a few that I've left on the top. Because if I do leave those on the top for another year's growth, those are going to be massive. So as they're not yeah, I need to get those off. I'm just going to go around the back. Take a few of these off the top. Some of the ones in here. Oh, I've left a few on top of there. They're not quite so big as the other ones were, so they won't cause so much harm. You can see I was being quite brutal on top of there with that saw. It's not critical to like always do perfect cuts on a tree, especially as I do a lot of trees for customers and I'm kind of more careful with those. But if you were working in an orchard or something like that and doing thousands of trees, you literally don't have time to always do perfect cuts, and also they heal pretty well. It's actually not too bad. I've left lots of twigs on it, so there should be plenty of fruit on the tree. There's a couple I've kind of missed on. See these two here and a bit further up, they kind of need to be pruned back a bit, but I'm going to leave all these lovely fruit buds on here. Just take those back a bit. There's a couple more I could do with getting on the top there. Quite hard to reach from here, especially when you're holding the phone. Anyway, you get the general idea. As you can see, there's nothing on the left hand side, and there would normally be a branch here on this side, but because there's a tree next to it, not a lot of grows there, and also mum and dad like the tunnel effect, but normally you'd have a tree more like this one. This is more of an old-fashioned shape. You've got a short trunk, and then they've chopped the main trunk out and let the branches grow. So as you can see here, these are all very well spaced out. You've got 4, 5 branches there, quite well spaced out. This one hasn't been pruned yet. I'll do that one on a separate video. Anyway, I hope that gives you a bit of an idea on how to prune your fruit trees.